Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here. I'm coming at you with another video about our alcohol project that we have in our shop. So as I shot in a previous video, we are making fuel alcohol in our high school science lab. So YouTube folks who might be previewing this video, yes, we do have a permit with the federal government. It is required to make alcohol, especially in a lab setting, and we have it. If someone needs the numbers, we've got all the numbers of our permit. But yes, we are permitted to do alcohol, and we are doing this in a high school shop. And we've got a couple of different runs of alcohol that are starting now. In our region, we are a grain growing region, so an area where you might make fuel alcohols. There has been talks about putting one in not too far from us. So we feel that this is really an appropriate skill set to be teaching our students, because this is something that they could be going into in a career. So I do have a special guest with me today. This is I'm going to introduce you to Mr. McDowell here in just a moment. He is our chemistry guru. His specialty is the labs. My specialty is the creativity and the ag side of that. I come up with the crazy ideas, and together we execute them, doing some pretty wild stuff. So we're going to show you just a couple of quick things. This is not a how-to. This is more of an informational. And we'll just talk a little bit about the lab. So, Mr. McDowell, tell us a little bit about what was going on in this setup over here.
So we got 2,000 grams of wheat, and we ground it up into a fine powder. We digested the starch with amylase and glucoamylase, and we did the treatment. Hopefully that turns all the starch into a sugar that can be fermented by the yeast, and then we moved it into in a carboy after we measured the concentration, the amount of sugars in it, so we can get an idea of how much it can make. And we put it in a carboy, and we're going to fill it up to volume and add yeast to it.
So we'll take a little venture to the other side of the lab, and we'll show you where this is going. And this is actually the wheat one is not actually our only. What would we call this? What would you call this? Only treatment that we have going. So this is the one that we were just working on today. So this is wheat, and this is locally sourced. So I did get this wheat from one of our students. They brought us in a big old gallon Ziploc bag full of wheat from their farm. So this is about as local as you can get for fuel production. And then this one over here is, now you were doing this one. This was molar ratios, isn't that how that lab was?
Yeah,
lab was going.
We measured molar ratios. We measured we turned 11% into moles, which is the chemistry concentration that people use, and we set up just a sugar water fermentation.
So this one here, so the sugar water, with the way they're doing that, so they're working on their molar solution. And they're looking on this one, I believe this was for the efficiency of the conversion. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working with pure ingredients and under ideal conditions. So we do have a heat jacket on here. This is still warm to the touch. And the idea is to see how efficient is our production of alcohol using the sugar solution. And if I can get really close, you can still see. Oh, let's see if we can get it to focus. It's not wanting to focus. You may just have to, oh, there we go. But you'll just have to believe me, there are bubbles coming up, and it is actively working. So part of the idea is we've got an ideal solution. All the ratios are ideal. We're testing our system. And then we have another grain or another food source that we're using for our yeast, and we're going to compare the two. Now, Mr. McDowell and I have been conspiring together with this. We really want to work on building a curricula that is something that is interesting to the students. You know, if you tell a kid you're going to make alcohol, it's going to catch their attention. And that's kind of the whole idea, is to get students excited about chemistry and excited about agriculture, and then bringing those two together to create a lesson and something that they're going to retain. Back here, I know I've introduced it in another video. This is our still. This is our laboratory style still. What was the name of this one?
It's a reflux still.
So this is a reflex still, and then we have another top for that. That's the copper. It's
Alhambra still.
an alhambric still that goes on the top of it. And then so that we don't waste a lot of water, we do have a chiller unit that we circulate. It's ethylene glycol, isn't it?
Ethylene glycol.
Yeah, we circulate ethylene glycol through there as our chilling fluid. So this has been quite an experience, and we're still fairly new at this. We're learning the ropes, and you know, I think this is going to be quite fun. So as we keep going, Mr. McDowell and I are going to keep coming up with other ideas that we can use as our food sources. So we've talked. So this one, the first one that we did was the sugar base. The other one we're doing today is wheat, and then you were thinking potatoes. So potatoes for one of those. We're a little bit far north in Idaho for doing sugar beets, but were we in southern Idaho, we could do sugar beets. Garbanzo beans and lentils are also local for us, but I don't know. We'll have to try that and see whether it works, but we're going to do at least some products that students are interested in. There's a lot that we can do. Mankind has found any number of ideas to make alcohol from various things. So we're going to kind of run through those and see what we can find out that's the most cost-effective, most efficient, and environmentally friendly. And then when we get to the end process of this, after we distill this out, we'll show you some of the finished product. And we will be running it through some engines. So the goal is to run go-karts with alcohol, and then I'm working on procuring a diesel engine to run them on biodiesel. And both of those will be made here with locally sourced items from our local ag products. So I hope you find this interesting and continue to follow us as we go. When do we think we're going to do distillation on the sugar? Is that next week?
Hopefully next week.
Hopefully next week. So we may be able to shoot a video next week showing some of the ethanol coming out. And the other thing is, yes, it is denatured. So we do add toxic methanol to our ethanol once we make it. So it is not consumable. And that is part of our process as it comes out. I think it has to be 2% denatured. So that's a part of our process to make sure that we're in compliance with our licensing and we document everything. But this is a pretty exciting lab. It's one I've enjoyed, and it's good to see it running. And we'll shoot more videos as we go. So I'd like to thank Mr. McDowell for hanging out with us on the video. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.